Raise your hand if you have ever lost $1 million. Okay, 3 people raised their hand. I thought I was going to be the only one. Apparently losing $1 million is more common than I thought. Do you still want to hear the story? Yeah. Okay, so here's the story how I lost $1 million. In 2019, I was working for a company called G2. I was very happy, had big responsibility, big team. I had a VP title. And then in 2020, I got one of these offers that you just can't refuse to come to Shopify and lead the SEO and part of the growth team. So I took that opportunity, and I was one of probably 10,000 people that Shopify hired during the pandemic because they thought that nobody would ever set foot in the store ever again. Fast forward, 2021, our numbers started to not look that hot, and it got a little heated at Shopify, let's put it this way. Fast forward again to 2022, and the company conducted a 20% layoff, including myself, and that's how I lost about $1 million in stock compensation. So pretty painful. You can see my time at Shopify in this chart. Here we go. So pretty steep increase, that was fun, and then a pretty steep fall again. That was not so much fun. This, by the way, is the total share of e-commerce from total retail in the US over time. I'm still bullish on e-commerce though. I think there's a massive opportunity. As you can see, that pie is actually growing. However, what you might not know is that there are 4 key challenges that merchants are facing when it comes to e-commerce in the future, and I call these the 4 wins. The first wind, and I call the 4 wins because they come from north, south, west, and east. The first challenge is that Google is actually turning from a search engine to an e-commerce marketplace, at least when it comes to shopping. Number 2, paid channels are getting a lot more expensive. Number 3, of course, AI is disrupting everything. And then number 4 is what I call the third wave. Let's talk about Google's transition to a shopping marketplace real quick. So the reason this is happening is that Google was never really able to catch up to Amazon when it comes to where people start their purchasing journey. At the same time, Amazon is growing their ad revenue rapidly. They're making almost $50 billion in 2023. And that's more than YouTube, by the way. It's not yet as much as Google Search. So they capture about 26% of what Google Search is doing in ad revenue, but they're growing faster than anybody else out there, faster than Meta, et cetera. At the same time, there is a big shift in the search results right now as social networks are gaining more visibility compared to e-commerce. This is a graph from my SEO site index where I monitor over 170 domains to understand how verticals and the SEO landscape is shifting. You can clearly see that e-commerce is losing visibility while social networks are growing. And that, of course, is going back to Reddit. Reddit has gained an ungodly amount of traffic because of the hidden gem update that Google rolled out. And they're now pretty much at the same level of organic traffic as Amazon, which is unprecedented and absolutely crazy when you think about it. In this new environment, retailers or bigger retailers are also struggling, and Google is rewarding the brands. We had a talk about IKEA earlier. You also have companies like Purple and Nike, which I'll talk a bit more about in just a minute. But Google is sending more traffic directly to the brands instead of the middlemen, and they do that to increase their margins, obviously. And then the last big transition that is really critical for everyone here to understand is that there were 2 features to take Google from a search engine to a marketplace that were critical. One are product filters, and you see them on desktop quite prominently. This looks a lot more like Amazon now. And the second one is a direct checkout. And you cannot yet directly check out on Google, but you can, as a merchant, use a feature called Buy on Google, where you can send clicks from the search to your own checkout, which is almost a direct checkout, right? So these were the 2 missing ingredients for Google's marketplace. 2, paid search. Advertisers, meaning merchants, have basically the choice of 15 different ad platforms, which is not that much when you think about it. So it's getting quite crowded. At the same time, search ad revenue is driven by retail in over 50%. So more than half of every dollar going into search ads comes from retail, absolutely critical. And at the same time, consumers have changed their behavior due to higher inflation, to rising cost. Right? They're buying things later, they're buying fewer products, and they're buying them at lower prices, which we refer to as trading down. Matter of fact, in the last big shopping season, which is Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Amazon ad spend was up by 30%, while CPCs were up 18%, and ROAS, so basically your ROI from ad spend, has gone down 8% and 5% respectively for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So you basically pay more to get less, and you can see that same trend visualized over time here. CPCs are getting higher every year in the shopping space, while average order value is tanking. AI disruption, no big secret. SGE, right, which is when we talk about SEO, is kind of the nuclear option, is again a nuclear bomb that I think Google will only drop if they really have to. But what I do think is very realistic, that they will take little cluster grenades and launch them into the live search ecosystem. And one of those cluster grenades is happening in shopping. So Google is pairing AI with their shopping graph, which is a database of over 35 billion data points. One of the most important ones that we often forget are reviews. Right? So Google doesn't just know the brand, the product, the size, the price, etc. They also know third-party reviews about the product, which are absolutely critical, and I will come back to that. And they're pairing that with AI, and they do fun things like projecting products onto models where you can, with AI, now see what a product looks like on an actual person. Fun fact, they also say you shouldn't stage your product when it comes to your own results, but that's a different problem. They also are able to suggest almost exact versions of a product you're looking for, just at different price points, right? So they're able to see, okay, these are black pants, but if you want to pay more or less, then we have two different offerings from different brands that look pretty much the same way. And that's AI and the shopping graph in action. And they are also able to understand your style as you label more data, as Dawn was just explaining so well. And then they can make more suggestions to what you truly like and personalized search results in shopping for you. But it's not just Google, it's also other platforms that are leveraging what I call AI efficiencies, where they use AI to make features of their platform better. One of them is obviously reviews. Amazon is already summarizing reviews and the key features that are valued to make it easier so you don't have to sift through all the reviews. That's them leveraging a competitive advantage. And then there's also eBay, which allows you to upload a product listing simply by taking a picture of it. Now, Amazon does that too. Matter of fact, just this morning I read that Amazon can now create a whole product listing from just providing a URL, right? So that's them doubling down on competitive advantages. And that's critical because Amazon is making already about, I think, $140 billion from third-party merchants on their marketplace, right? So they're turning basically into a third-party marketplace, which is critical for my next point, which is the third wave, or the Chinese third wave. So merchants and online retailers are facing big competition from China. The first wave was made in China. Second wave was shipped from China. And the third wave is sold by China. And the biggest culprits here are Shein, TikTok, and Temu, or Temu. Nobody knows how they're really pronounced. They're not as big as Amazon just yet, but they are growing really fast. And the thing that most people don't know is that over 50% of Amazon's third-party merchants are from China already, right? So low-price products, creating a lot of competition for merchants in this environment. Temu is going on absolute spending spree when it comes to ads. They're already on par with Walmart when it comes to ad impressions, and they're ahead of Target. They spent about $1.7 billion last year alone. So they're really buying themselves into the market at all costs. Shein, on the other hand, you cannot really call that fast fashion anymore. It's kind of real-time fashion. They're holding way less inventory than other vendors or merchants. At the same time, they're releasing a lot more products, and they're using AI to do that. They can monitor and understand your behavior when you use their app or when you browse their marketplace. And they can create new products almost in real time for you and make a buck. Now, what does it mean for merchants? You know, how do you thrive in that environment? How do you succeed in that environment? And the first thing that's absolutely critical is to actually lose weight, is to lose fat cells so you can show your six-pack to Google in the form of low-quality pages, right? So some of the best merchants, they remove or improve low-quality pages, and they really focus on high-quality pages, and I call that SEO Zempic. So that basically means You strip off the fat of, again, low-quality pages. There's lots of examples where you see in blue the number of pages that the domain holds, and in white, you see the organic traffic. And you can very clearly see across the board that when the number of pages goes up, most of the time your organic traffic goes down. And it also works the other way around, which again is not to say that more pages are always bad, but which is to say that if you don't have a strong grip on the quality of these pages you're adding to your domain, you're going to have a problem. Right? Again, example from Adidas, they're seeing the same thing here, just in reverse, where the number of pages drops, and at the same time they're seeing an increase in organic traffic. And I just want to point out that just fewer pages doesn't mean you're automatically going to get more traffic. It's the point of stripping away the fat cells. And that's just not an e-commerce thing. This is an example from SaaS, Riverside, that have very high amount of quality content, but they had a technical issue that skyrocketed the number of index pages, and Google punished them with less organic traffic. The second thing that you need to do in this environment is to home in on faceted indexing. So Google shows a lot more shopping filters. I showed a screenshot earlier. And on desktop, we're seeing 11% of queries right now showing these shopping filters with the trend growing. And a company that does that really well is Nike, which progressively indexes more facets. So they have something like basketball shoes, and then a facet of that would be men's basketball shoes, and they're going a level deeper into blue men's basketball shoes. And what's smart about that is that they can now match the facets that Google is also showing with their own facets, and they have a higher likelihood of ranking with that model, and that works really well. This is the basketball shoe example. You can see as there are more pages, organic traffic follows suit. The third thing is that there is a new plant growing in the garden that you need to tend in other ways than the other plants that you have, and that is the Google Merchant Center. So as there are more keywords showing product carousels, there is a new discipline, a new playing field with new rules that we have to take care of in SEO, and that is, again, the Merchant Center. Over 40% of queries in shopping already show popular products or product carousels. That's a huge opportunity, and these things are growing. A couple days ago, I was looking for best vacuum cleaner in the US, and I saw a carousel with over 18 product cards. So this plant is growing, and it's taken up more oxygen than plant food. SEOs need to be on top of that, because when this thing shows, it typically shows in top positions. It typically ranks in position 1 to 3. So absolutely critical. There are lots of factors that go into Merchant Center optimization, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but it kind of reminds me on the classic 4 marketing Ps, which are place, product, promotion, and price. So in this new world, a lot of the decisions that help you rank better later on have to be made when it comes to the product. How expensive is it? How fast can we ship it? Can we offer free shipping, or can we offer free returns for 60 days? All of these things matter in this new Google Marketplace. And then, of course, when it comes to testing, there's a lot of stuff going on the paid side, but there's almost zero going on the organic side. You really want to find a way, probably in a very scrappy way right now, to A/B test the feed that you send to the Merchant Center and show up in organic carousels, because things like thumbnails, the title, etc., they have a massive impact on your rank. Yeah? So when it comes to thumbnails, you want to make sure that you send out, like this is probably not a great example because the product blends into the background. You want to have the product staged and ideally see it in action, but not so much that you can barely recognize the product. So there's a whole philosophy, and what you essentially have to do is you have to sit down and look at what does the product carousel look like, and how can we stand out here? Is there a more colorful background that we can use here, or is there maybe a more colorful version of the product? So all these things matter, and they matter more since over 60% of shopping keywords already show image carousels. And again, there's a direct purchase path through image carousels on Google's new marketplace. So you want to be on top of that, and you want to be mindful about the differences across different verticals. So this is the beds category in shopping, and you can see that that there are a lot more images in the beds category than in other categories or on average. You want to fish with several lines, and one way to do that is to combine the optimization of your product pages and category pages with content. 2 brands that are doing a really good job with that are Purple and Nike. They're both growing their editorial content and pairing it nicely with their product landing pages. These charts are examples of keywords, and the way to read them is that the lower you are on the chart, the better your position, the better your rank, and the further to the right you are, the more words are on your page or on your blog page, right? And what purple does incredibly well is that they rank better than everyone else with fewer words, meaning they have a very high degree of insights. They're creating really good content. The way that they do that is with very simple ways to structure their content and make it more digestible. They have these call-outs at the top of their blog articles to answer questions directly that people could have. They have tables that lend themselves very, very well to featured snippets. They also use a lot of custom graphics to visualize data and decisions. These graphics that are almost like quizzes don't just lend themselves well for a good user experience, but they also draw organic backlinks, right? Basically unpaid backlinks. And then quizzes themselves are conversion accelerants. So if you want to find a better way to convert people, you send them into a quiz, and ideally you link to that quiz as much as you can. This is an example from Hims, a company I'm working with right now. And then here is Purple again, and this is, especially in the consumer space and DTC space, a very, very proven model. They also do a good job, this is from Nike, of interweaving content and category or product pages. So here they're having this carousel at the bottom of their category page to blog content that helps people answer questions, but then on blog content you also have these product carousels. So it's just a very interwoven strategy. And the last thing is third-party reviews, which act as kind of a beacon for quality to your users. I already mentioned the importance of third-party reviews in Google's shopping graph. And you can do very basic things like drive reviews from NPS surveys. So if you have a survey, for example, that's higher than 7, you ask people if they want to leave a review about your product, or you email them after the purchase. It's like one of the very basic things you could do, but still often forgotten. Here's Stitch Fix emailing me after I ordered. Smart of them. Wrapping up, to summarize that, the thriving merchants in this new environment are the ones who optimize product pages and category. They optimize for classic search and for new search, which is the marketplace on Google. And they strip down fat cells, they work out, they build more muscle, they show their six-pack, and they drive third-party reviews. There are 2 more things that I need you to do. Number 1 is I need you to go to growth-memo.com. I need you to enter your email and hit subscribe. I share insights like that every week. Adam Gent calls it a must-have for any SEO professional to level up. I know you all have Wi-Fi, so I'm gonna check you later on that. And then the other thing is I need you to download this deck. Check this QR code. I'm gonna give you a little bit of time. Download this deck. Block your calendar for an hour. I know what it's like when you work in-house. There's always a lot on the calendar. Download it and schedule an hour to brainstorm and test these ideas. There's obviously a lot in this deck, and I went through it very fast, but there's a ton of substance in there, and I want to strongly urge you to test that out and see what of that can work for you. Last year, I worked with a company called Fast Growing Trees. I had no idea you can make so many millions of dollars with plants, but here we are. And we achieved some tremendous results. And it's because Fast Growing Trees follow out the principles and ideas that I presented to you today. So it's possible for them. I believe it's possible for you if you're willing to take a chance. Thank you.